Welcome back to my channel. Hi you guys! Today I'll be reviewing drum rolls To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I decided to make this review because it is one of my favorite books. I'll be starting with my favorites, then I'll be bumping to another genres. But well, I would like to explain why I decided to read it, but it's not a really interesting story. I was just running around libraries like any other weird teenager and found it by chance. The synopsis drew me in because it tackles serious issues such as rape and racial inequality through the eyes of a child, which makes it even more impactful. I believe reading it was a life-changing experience for me. That's why I also recommend that you guys read it. Now, let's start. To Kill a Mockingbird was written by Harper Lee and published in 1960. Lee was born in 1926 and grew up in a small town in Alabama. She attended the Huntington College in Montgomery and studied law in the University of Alabama. In 1950, she moved to New York, where she started to write a collective essays and short stories about people in her hometown. Her manuscript was bought by an editor at J.B. Lippincott, who encouraged her to continue writing. After finishing her first draft, titled Go Set a Watchman, her manuscript fell in the hands of Ty Hall Hoff, which, despite being fascinated, argued that it wasn't fit for publication. Hence, Lee worked on the draft until it was fit for publication. The original title was discarded, being retitled Atticus. However, Lee renamed it To Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird quickly became successful, being taught in several American schools and also being considered a modern classic of literature. Oh, as well as winning the Pulitzer Prize. Lee never published anything after this, until Go Set a Watchman was published in July 2015. I can't really talk about it because I never read it. Harper Lee continued to answer to her work's influence until her death in 2016. Now about the plot. The story is told by the 60-year-old Joan Louise Finch, also known as Scout Finch, an intelligent yet unconventional girl. This is both a coming-of-age story and a dark drama about the origins and consequences of racism and prejudice. The story accompanies her growth, taking place in 3 years during the Great Depression in a fictional series called Maycomb in Alabama. Scout lives with her 10-year-old brother, Jem, and her middle-aged father, Atticus, who is a lawyer. Atticus even references the title once, telling his children that it is a sin to kill a mockingbird, suggesting that they are innocuous and innocent birds. At first, the plot tells the adventures of Scout and Jem, such as befriending a boy who comes in summers called Dio, and fearing a withdrawn neighbor called Bull Redley. As I first said, their father, Atticus, is a lawyer. Hence, he is appointed to defend Tom Robinson, a black man who's unfairly accused of raping a white woman. Although many citizens oppose, Atticus accepts the offer to defend him, even though he has little hope to win. Meanwhile, at school, many children taught Scout and Jem about Atticus' actions, saying names that white people shouldn't say. By being in the situation, she and her brother are taught valuable lessons, such as empathy, compassion, and understanding. I won't continue talking about the plot because spoilers. So here's my criticism. Let's confess, I almost gave up in the beginning because of info dumping. For those who don't know what this is, it's like when a writer tells a lot about the story in a whole page. It's just too much information to process. But as the story progresses, it's hard to not be immersed in the novel. It's crystal clear that Lee has immense talent for narration, merging the narrator's voice of a child who's watching her surroundings to a woman pondering over her childhood, allowing her to tell a delightfully deceptive story that mixes naivety of infancy veil with adult circumstances hampered by hidden motivations. The most important theme of To Kill a Mockingbird is exploration of the nature of human beings, whether people are essentially righteous or essentially corrupt. The story transitions from the siblings' childlike vision, because they never encountered evil before, to a much more mature perspective, in which they faced evil and must include it in their understanding of the world. Overall, I think it's a solid 9. Finally, the novel inspired various adaptations, the most well-known one being the 1961 Strawberry Peck as Atticus, which led him to an Academy Award. Thanks for watching, folks, and that's it. Please like and subscribe, and if you have any book suggestions, write it down in the comments. Bye!